Hi everyone, this is our TAD Talk. We call it the TAD Talk because it's the arts debate and it's small. It's only 10 minutes long. We're waiting for the lawsuit from TED, of course. So today we've got Jasmine with us, Jasmine Sandler from New York. Jasmine is going to now try and share her screen. I need to let you do that, I think.
Yes, please.
There we go.
Let
Give
me
it a
know when I'm
try.
ready. All right,
Try
let me
sharing.
share the screen now. We shall see.
Yeah, let's the wonders of modern technology. There we go.
Yes, whoa, there's a lot of technology going on here. Okay, can you
Yeah.
see my screen?
I can see your screen. Thumbs up everywhere else. Yes, excellent. I'm
Are
going
you
to.
full on there?
We're full on there. Excellent.
All right, there
Right,
are a lot of things on my screen, so everybody can see the cover, yes?
we can.
And you
I'm
can
going
hear me
to.
just fine?
We can hear you and see you just fine. I'm going to spotlight you for everyone, and we are recording. So excellent, great. All yours, Jasmine.
All right, wonderful. First of all, thank you for having me, Mark. And you're just, gosh, like one of the nicest people I know. And I don't know how you do it all to keep all these people in a Zoom room and keep it all going. So I love the Arts and Culture Network. I'm really excited to be the New York City ambassador. I want to start with that. So I've been talking to Mark for the last several months about the fact that this is, I believe, one of the arts and cultural centers of the world. So why shouldn't we have an in-person networking event? I attend Juilliard, so I'm constantly around like the Lincoln Center area. And I was thinking maybe we could do something really fun for the holidays where we could have maybe a Lincoln Center kind of walk through, and they have great cocktails at the Lincoln Center bar. So that's what I'm thinking. I've reached out to a few of the members, but please, any of you that are in the New York City area and want to get together for our holiday toast, reach out to me. My information is in the chat, but it's very simple. It's Jasmine at jasminesandler.com. Very easy. We can follow up on that. So that's number one. Number two is I wanted to give just a short talk today. I've been in digital marketing and branding for 17 years now, helping companies monetize. I'm a very bottom line driven type of person. I'm also extremely passionate rock composer and vocalist. So I love music and I love culture. And one of my missions is to help artists monetize. I do talks on this. I speak at different universities in the US about this. So all of that being said, I want to just jump right into my presentation today. 5 tips for arts and cultural professionals to ignite their online revenues. So most of the people, except for I think one person in the Zoom room, knows me. So just want to give a little background on myself. For those of you that don't know me, I started digital marketing like eons ago. My original background was with IBM. I used to be a director of global sales for IBM in data networks, and got into digital marketing very, very early. I started and sold a social network around sports and entertainment pre-Facebook. Since then, I've been an advisor, a consultant, a fractional CMO, an agency owner, and my mission in this specifically is really to help companies do better online. Most of the clients that I serve as a consultant, my agency, JS Media, serves, are generally flat. They're usually not failing, and they just don't know how to take it to the next level. I speak on this subject and all the subjects around digital marketing optimization and personal branding around the United States. I told Mark when we had our really fun interview, I told him that I really want to get to Vienna. That's my goal, and Europe in general, and I'd like to really spread the message and help companies around the world. I contribute to a number of US-based media as a digital marketing and branding thought leader, so you can check that out. The other thing I just want to mention that I mentioned to some of you folks is I also equally support women in arts and culture and women in business. I have a very busy podcast and event series in the US where I interview female leaders across industry and a lot in entertainment and culture to help women that are trying to come up in the space. So you should check out the podcast. And as Mark mentioned, I am the new Arts and Cultural New York City ambassador. I'm also involved with the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce. So anybody that's doing business in Beverly Hills or wants some connections, please reach out to me. Okay. I'm going to get in now into my 5 tips. So number 1 tip for monetization, that's my keyword. If you're an arts and culture professional, or some of you that are producing, you know, theater, events, those type of things, is you need an actionable based plan. Actionable is the key. So, you know, most creative professionals, I see that their biggest struggle point is being a business owner and doing it correctly. And so to do this correctly is first and foremost, have a little bit of introspection into where do you want to go with your business and your career, and what are your goals. You have to have both short-term and long-term goals, but just like you manage your finances, you wouldn't just spend money wildly, or maybe you would, but you should not do that with digital marketing. You need to have a very succinct plan that says, this is where I want to go with my business. And then you need to understand where it is your audience lives online. You don't want to spray and pray. You don't want to reach out and spend a lot of time in areas that aren't going to drive revenues. So I see way too many people, clients, businesses, spending countless hours on places like Instagram. And then when I sit down with them, I say, okay, well, how much money have you made? And then they look at me like, you know, crazy. So it's really, really important that you understand where your best monetary opportunities lie. And therefore you need a plan. You need a plan that says, who's my target audience? Who's my, what I call in my world, ecosystem. So just like Mark is doing a fabulous job of creating an ecosystem for us, this is what I do online. Like, how do we find the people that are going to carry our message? Just like Mark said, we go in the breakout rooms, maybe that person isn't going to be a direct client of yours. Doesn't really matter, because that person could be part of your ecosystem to help spread your message. The less time you're single-handedly spreading your message and other people are spreading your message for you, the better chance you have of having a sustainable business. I've had my business for close to 20 years because of this philosophy. So that's number 1. Number 2, setting up conversion and customer growth points. So when you have your digital marketing plan, in that you need to have a place where it says, okay, so I have, let's just say the last gentleman I spoke with in the breakout room, right? He said to me, I have a theater production in Ethiopia. I'm doing work in London. I'm looking to maybe do this around the world. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I heard. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm listening to him and I'm thinking, okay, well, how is he doing this? Like, does he have a plan that says, I'm going to run a campaign, let's just say, on Facebook because, or Meta, because I know that my customers are there in these 3 geographies. And then I know that this, let's say, you know, this production is happening in 2025. So what am I going to do in the next, you know, 6 months, let's say, to make that happen? Do I have a budget to spend online? How am I doing market research with my customers? Do the people even understand my price points? Do they even know what this is about? You know, do I have a back-end system? Again, I'm going to keep throwing this at Mark because he does a great job. Do you have, you know, because he has an automated system, right? Do you have an automated system for lead follow-up, for lead nurturing to get to a conversion point of a sale of a ticket, right? So having this is really, really, really important. It's important to spend time up front before you spend time in execution and spinning your wheels. Going back to what I said, which is why I've had my business so long, is because most companies spin their wheels because they don't spend the time to do this correctly. So understanding where your audience is going to convert into a customer and having a written trajectory for customer growth over time is extremely important to being successful. Storytelling, right? This is what most of the people in this audience do, right? You guys do storytelling. So do I. I'm also a big time storyteller with my music, right? So when it comes to arts and culture, you guys have actually such an advantage over most clients, most like B2B clients that we work with, because you're already naturally a storyteller. But where I see that folks, professionals in arts and culture might get stuck is they might not understand the buyer's journey along the way. That is so important. I think most of my time in consulting with executives is helping them to understand this. It's plotting out, if I had a whiteboard behind me, I would show you, but it's plotting out, okay, what is the buyer journey? So how many times do I need to, what we call impress this potential customer with content for them to say, yes, I want to buy a ticket to this show, right? So how do we do that? We need to understand how your customer is engaged, especially if you have a new project. It's going to take more time, right? Because we need to build the brand awareness first. So having your content built in a way that directly ties into the storytelling for the buyer's journey is so, so important. We all know, I don't need to tell anybody this, but we all know that video is leading the way, that having really compelling content is leading the way. This is why with my company, we have been focused, I've been investing way more money in my video production team in the last 18 months, because all my clients are calling for video production, video of conferences, right? All of this stuff. So having really compelling content that evokes, and I don't need to tell anybody that produces theater, evokes emotions into the buyer journey is so important. But it's about having this down on paper and revisiting this. This is what we do in marketing. We assess optimization along the way in our businesses. And this is very, very important. Okay. This is probably my favorite thing to talk about because I'm a keynote speaker and an author 3 times over in this world of personal branding, right? So at the end of the day, people do business with people. Whether you love them or you hate them, people do business with people. So you need to have a personal brand that is, and I hate this word because it's cliche, but it's real, authentic to who you are. That is so, so important, because you don't want to put something out and then somebody meets you and it's a complete disconnect. All right. So that's kind of the bare basics of a personal brand. But again, going back to what I said at the beginning, my company, we do a lot of executive branding work, and we always start with a business plan for the executive brand. So you want to think about your own personal brand as a business, 100%. Right? So you want to make sure that you have goals for this personal brand, that you are aligning your own creative assets for that personal brand, that brand is going to help to lift the brand visibility and the importance of whatever you're selling, that the brand is open and available, and then at the end of that day, that brand evokes what we call positive sentiment. Positive sentiment. Sorry, I'm looking across the street because there's a dog running on the rooftop. It's very weird. But anyway, that's New York City. There's a personal brand that drives target influence. I want to talk about this for a second, right? So when I talked about the business plan and your personal brand, when you have the business plan, you want to identify who is my personal brand affecting, who's my target audience. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's only your buying customer. I think many times I've seen that the personal brand affecting a wider yet very strategically thought through, influential audience is equally as important. That's the importance of doing things like I talk about on LinkedIn, for example, of building an audience with groups, discussion boards, profiles, micro influencers that can positively affect that word of mouth influence, right? And then how does that brand drive customer conversion? So that's another piece, right? So if you are the spokesperson for your own brand, you need to really understand why somebody's going to buy what you're selling, and you need to be a part of that. You can't shy away from that. I've seen a lot of times where artists, I'm talking about true artists, will shy away from the sale. I have a good example of somebody that's done a great job. I have a very high-end global photographer, colleague, friend of mine, who I've worked with her, I don't know, for like a year now as a client. And I've seen her go from being not a little bit scattered, not knowing what to do. And when I tell you she's talented, it's a total understatement. To now having an entirely sold out art show in the last 2 weeks in New York City, which is crazy to happen here. from an unknown artist, you know? So it's because she was able to really hone in on her audience and say, you know what, after working together, I don't want to focus on audience A because they're not my buying audience, but audience B is completely resonant with her personal brand. You know, she's in the LGBTQ plus community and she's only doing work in that community. She's only doing personal branding in that community, and she's seen a major lift in her business. So that's something that's very, very important that I've seen, you know, physically in terms of driving in more money related to your art and your personal brand. Okay, the next thing is get your name and works into influential online communities for appropriate relationship building. Okay. So it is about, again, going back to this, it's kind of like tying it all together. So we have the plan, we know who we want to target from both a primary buying audience, right? That's our direct audience, to the influential audience and ecosystem, okay? We need to build that brand. We need to understand what is this brand all about, both the company brand and the personal brand. And then we need to not only put things out, I see way too many times on LinkedIn, for example, the people will just like keep putting out their artwork or keep putting out whatever they're selling. And it's like, you know, unclick, mute, because it's not, that doesn't do anything, right? You need to spend the time and the effort to relationship build. At the end of the day, it is all about relationship building. That's it. And you need to be positive. You need to, like Mark said, you need to be equally giving. You need to help. You need to offer. All this ambassador work that I do is because I'm passionate about what the other person is doing. I'm passionate about driving impact. As a leader in my business community, we need to drive impact, right? All of you with personal brands, all of you that are in business, think impact and support first, and secondarily the business. And at the end of the day, I have seen, like, time and time and time again with all my mentors in business, this is how you become successful. So I think that's truly important. This is a very overview because I only have 10 minutes and 5 tips. It's very high level, but I hope this will get everyone thinking about, okay, these are the sequential steps. Now, how do I do this? On my website, I have resources, a million case studies, tons of content in social media. If you want to take a look at that, of course, I'm happy to answer questions now. But I didn't know how much time we have because I'm not looking at a clock at all. So how much time we have to answer questions? Happy to answer any questions that you have. I know Mark's recording this, so that's fantastic. He can share this with others. I encourage you also to share this to get your ducks in a row when it comes to creating monetization around your arts and culture brand. So,
Yes.
Mark, do we have time to answer questions?
We normally do that in the after party if you can linger for that. So thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. Yeah, somebody once said having lots of followers on Instagram is like having lots of money in Monopoly.
I love it.
Do please pop any questions you have for Jasmine in the chat, or linger and after the hour, because that's an opportunity for that. But that was an eye-opener, Jasmine. Thank you so much for sparing the time and sharing your expertise so generously.
You're welcome.
Do please pop any comments in the chat as well for Jasmine. But for the time being, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Right.